All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 11 a.m. call with Daequan Hardy. As always, please raise your hand and I'll call on you. We will start with Tyler Donahue.
Good morning, Daequan. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's been a little while since we spoke down in Tampa. I'm curious, how are you in year four, the best version of yourself thus far, and what has set you up for success at Penn State to this point?
Well, I'm just trying to get better every day, just working the process, and process is being just going out there and competing and making myself better while also making other guys across the ball better.
Greg Pickle.
Daequan, in what ways do you feel like you've made both yourself better and other guys on the other side of the ball better through spring practice here?
I mean, just a lot of schematically things, just getting better at picking up the defenses, learning the new defenses. I was also helping the offense recognize coverages and things of those sort.
Rich Garcella.
Daequan, you touched on it, but what are your impressions of Coach Diaz after going through almost the entire spring with him? What has he brought to your defense?
He's a great coach. One thing that stands out to me the most is he's a big energy guy. He brings the energy to the defense, and we all rally around that. He's been a great addition to the team so far.
Hunter Snyder.
Hey, Daequan, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. What can you tell us about Kalen King and kind of his development from last year to now? How has he maybe impressed you?
He's a young up and coming guy. We expect a lot of things from him coming up this season. He's been getting better in his man coverage, his zone. It's a new defense, but he's picking up the defense well. So we're really excited to see what he does this year.
Keefer.
Hey, Daequan, good morning.
Good morning.
Outside of the defensive system, which obviously is changing, how would you like your role to grow in the defense this year?
I just want to be almost more, I call it versatile, just not pinpoint on my position, but to help other guys out and even to play in other spots like safety or corner and so forth.
Mark Brennan.
Daequan, when you say Coach Diaz brings energy, can you give us some examples of that, like some things you've seen on the field or in meeting rooms, that sort of thing? Thank you.
It's I remember Jamari Bud made a great tackle in the last period, and the first guy on the field was Manny, running right to him and just give him his props and stuff.
Spencer Ripchick.
So Daequan, a little bit more on Manny Diaz here. What does he stress the most, just about the secondary?
It's just the one thing that he's stressing to the whole defense is trust. We got to build that bond and the connection where we all trust each other to do our jobs. And, we don't have to worry if he's not doing his job right. We just do our job and build the trust.
Tyler Donahue.
Yeah, I know you got happy to have Adisa Isaac back on the field for spring ball. What have you personally seen from Adisa, and what kind of a spark could he provide you guys in 2022?
I mean, Adisa is an excellent pass rusher. He does great against the run. So, he's one of those guys on the interior that's like a game changer. So we're definitely excited to have him back.
Rich Garcella.
Daequan, looking at the other side of the ball and guys you've probably gone against, what are your thoughts on Mitchell Tinsley and a couple of young receivers, Caden Sanders and Amari Evans?
I really like Mitchell Tinsley. He's one of those guys. He's very quick and nifty in his routes, and he's going to be a great addition to the offense. And also, Amari Evans is one of those fast guys who go well off the top, and he'll be another great addition, and including Caden Saunders, who's another nice little shifty, small receiver. But, yeah, we're pretty good.
Ben Jones.
Daequan, what have you seen change in Tig this offseason in terms of his approach to leadership and just kind of stepping up even more into that role?
Yeah, he's been doing a great job of being a leader, just keeping all the whole defense in line, and also just making plays. That comes with being a leader. So he's been doing an awesome job this spring.
T. Frank.
Daequan, you mentioned wanting to play other positions, including boundary corner. It was boundary you were talking about, correct?
I just said corner in general.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me just ask you then. What are the skills that you think make a good boundary corner, and where does that? I guess. What do you think that position you need to do to be able to do that?
To be a good boundary corner, first things first, you gotta be able to tackle running backs, and you gotta be able to cover the big tight ends, and then you also gotta be able to just cover period. Like the boundary corners are more likely where the best receiver is going to be. So you want to be one of the top cover guys in your squad.
Audrey Snyder.
Daequan, what's the most impressive play somebody's made in a scrimmage this spring? What stands out to you, either side of the ball?
Off the top of my head, I just think of last practice, Tig, we're doing a 2-minute drill, and Tig made a great play on the ball to end the drill and get the defensive win.
Zach Lambert.
Being that Nick Tarver is one of the older guys, what does he bring to the locker room and just to the defensive unit as a whole?
Yeah, Nick Tarver is one of those guys that the D linemen and the young up and coming D linemen look up to, and he's like a leader in his room. He provides you just look at him and you want to follow what he's doing. So he's been doing really a good job in the D line room and for the whole defense.
Zach Allen.
Hey, Daequan, thanks for your time today. What's the defensive back room like this year compared to last year, and how does Manny Diaz's energy factor into your guys' performance?
Yeah, we're pretty younger, but we have a lot of talent and a lot of potential to do greater things than what we did last year. I really like how our DBs are locked in and focused. I feel like we're almost more together because we lost a couple of big pieces, so we have to really tighten down on just picking up the slack for the other guys.
Andrew Clay.
Hey, Daequan, quick question. Do you guys have any blue-white bets on the line? Anything like that for this weekend?
Nah, it's not really no blue-white bets. We're all family. We just want to go out there and compete and make each other better.
Tyler Donahue.
You spent a lot of time with Keaton Ellis in that cornerback group. Now he's at safety for year 2. How do you think he's handled that transition, and what kind of a role do you think he may be ready for here in 2022?
I believe he handled the switch over pretty well. He's one of those guys who can cover and is also a physical tackler. So we feel like the coaches feel like the best move for him was to move him to safety. And as of right now, he's being a great addition to the safety room. He's making plays on the football, coming down, making tackles. So I feel like it's the best thing for him.
Rich Garcella.
Daequan, who are maybe 3 or 4 guys who've had a really good spring on defense, who've really stepped up their games?
I would say starting with Jair Brown, Kalen King, Zane Durrant, and I would say Kobe King as well.
T. Frank.
Daequan, I gotta say, your efficiency of getting through our questions is super impressive so far. When it comes to your skills, Manny Diaz, speaking of quickness, mentioned you have very quick feet. So what do you think your best skill as a player is, and what is a skill that you've been working on this offseason to improve your game?
So I would say my best skill would probably be what Manny said, my feet. And one of my best assets with the feet is also my speed. So sometimes you don't step the right way or step the proper leverage or whatever. I have the speed to make up for those mistakes. And I would say I'm trying to just work on just staying on top of receivers and being better at the line of scrimmage when they get off the ball.
Mark Brennan.
Daequan, we don't often hear about true freshman early enrollee defensive tackles being guys who kind of stand out. That's a tough position for a young guy to play. So when you mentioned Zane Durrant, can you give us a few examples of what he's doing that's catching everybody's eye? Thanks.
He's being explosive off the ball, creating havoc at the line of scrimmage, getting pushed back, knocked back towards the quarterback, and it's just being an all-around playmaker or down in the trenches.
Time for 2 more. Seth Engel.
Hey, Daequan. What areas have you seen Joey Porter Jr. improve this spring, and what's your relationship like with him?
Yeah, Joey Porter is one of my good guys. You know, we both from the Pittsburgh area, and Joey's he's grown as a leader, and he's been doing great in his coverage and just recognizing the schemes and what's coming at him from an offense perspective. So he's been growing a lot recently.
Last question, Tyler Donahue.
Daequan, every time you get asked about during a James Franklin press conference, he talks about that state championship game and why didn't they offer you earlier and all that stuff. Even though you've played a lot of Penn State games to this point, you started a lot of them. Do you still carry some of that underdog mentality because of how your recruitment played out and because of how long it took to get this opportunity?
Of course, you know, from a guy like my size who's not the biggest and not the strongest, or, you know, whatever the circumstances may be, you got to carry that chip on your shoulder every day and just day out, just knowing that there's a lot of other places who overlooked you, and, you know, you just got to overcome those setbacks and just make the best of what you can.